Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Halloween edition. Today we are going to be building Morticia's cottage from Wednesday. This build took me 3 hours, you guys. Luckily, there was a video on Architectural Digest doing a tour of the house, and I also watched a lot of the episodes on Netflix so that I could have a point of reference for what the house looked like. I saw this and I was like, this is such an interesting house. I'm not really sure what type of architecture this is. I didn't study architecture, but I just know it looks really, really nice. And so I hadn't seen anyone build this in The Sims 4, so I said, let's give it a shot. We are starting out with a floor plan that I created off screen because it took me a really long time to put this all together, and I just wanted to make sure I set myself up for success. I didn't want to struggle too much on camera. I also created a floor plan, so you won't be seeing that here until we start going into the rooms. This house is very dark and everything is black, and so I was trying to find things to create contrast. I think I ended up going back and switching this wallpaper that I'm using, but right now I'm just working on the roofing of the place. We have this greenhouse in the back, so you see me put the little dome in the back, and then there is a wraparound porch at the front of the house, and so I wanted to include that here as well. I will say that this house is probably bigger in real life. Some of the dimensions of some of the rooms are not quite right, but the idea is there. I'm going in with some windows from the Realm of Magic pack. Looking back, I think I should have gotten the Vampires pack because there are a lot of things in Vampires that I think could have worked really well in this space. But I really wanted those stained glass windows from the Realm of Magic pack, and that's the reason why I decided to get this pack. The packs are expensive, so I didn't want to get Vampires, which is super duper old, and so that's why I decided to get the Realm of Magic. So here, as you can see, I've put windows all around. I'm putting some terrain paint in the front, and now we're going into this entryway hallway, which has the stairs that lead us to the second story. This little room was all black. It had these really nice archways, and so I decided to use these that come with the pack. I'm using this flooring that I think is from Life and Death, and here in the entrance there was a big chest with a bear taxidermied bear, and I was looking for ideas to put in here. I didn't end up liking any of the two options that I saw, and so I just ended up putting this skeleton, Mexican skeleton you can say, here in the entryway table. I just think it goes more with the vibe that the Addams family has. Here I'm going in with those stained glass windows. If you watch the Architectural Digest videos, they mention these windows, and so I really wanted to have red roses in here, and so we put those on the staircase. I went with the brown. The flooring has some brown, so I thought it looked okay. I was debating whether I liked it or not, but I ended up going with it. So now we're gonna step into the living room. This is one of the rooms that you see the most in this season of Wednesday. This is where Morticia gets visitors and other people, just people from the school, and so you'll see her having tea here with her visitors. One of the most notable things about the house, or this room specifically, is the fireplace. And so with Realm of Magic, we did have this fireplace that is really nice, and so I put it in here. And I've created these bump outs because in the show, I think there are doors that lead to the outside, but I just decided to put these bump outs here with some frames. And it also, I think it helped elevate the fireplace and give it more of a presence. These walls, I think they're medium height, and I think the fireplace is for short height or regular height. So it looks a little short here. So creating that built-in stuff for the fireplace, I think helps a lot. A lot of the furniture in here, luckily, comes from Base Game. Base Game has a lot of like, I think it's Victorian, very vintage looking stuff. So the furniture that I use in here is from that. I put this little like side table with that's from Realm of Magic and some more decorations there. Here I'm putting those chairs that I mentioned that are from Base Game and some tables from For Rent and Realm of Magic as well. I put a coffee table here in the middle of the living room and just adding some more clutter. They had a lot of things on the table from what I can recall, and so I was just trying to clutter up the space. They're definitely maximalists with this wallpaper and all of the things they have going on. I decided to put these curtains that are from Life and Death, which I think look really nice in this space, and they just help elevate it a little bit more. This is one of the reasons why I wish I had gotten vampires, because the lamps in vampires are just so pretty. Like, I couldn't find any that looked nice in here. I ended up going back and switching these red ones because they're obviously not the vibe, but I wish I had gotten vampires just for that reason. I decided to put this thing in the back. I think this is from City Living, just to add more depth to the space here in the living room. Now we're going out to this little other room that ends up being the green room. This ends up being one of my favorite rooms in the entire build. I just put plants everywhere, and if you watch the show and you get to see this room, or if you see it in Architectural Digest, like, this place is covered in plants and it's just so beautiful. Luckily, The Sims 4 has a lot of different plants, and although I did duplicate some of the plants, but thank God there's like so much variety that we can use here in the space. I put a lot of palm trees. I was trying to put a little bit of everything. In the center here, Morticia has her big chair, and I was trying to figure out what chair to use. I knew High School Years had some options, and I ended up just going with this egg chair. The other one also looks very similar to what the chair looks like, so I do put it in here, I think, next to it. I did go back to change those lamps like you saw, so they could match the space. They also have a bird, I believe, and so that's why I put this bird in here. It's actually in a cage, but you can't put this bird on a cage. This is from Life and Death, and so I just put him there. I put this big tarot card from Life and Death as well, and then I put a bonsai tree because this is actually something they can garden with, and then I'm just putting in some gardening clutter in here as well. I'm going in with these trellises that are from High School Years, and I end up giving her a book and this little rug from Life and Death as well. I just felt like we needed something here in the center, and there I put that little chair again from High School Years with that back that looks a lot like her chair. That was the closest I could get. That chair is so unique. I don't think we have anything like that in The Sims 4, or not in the packs that I have. Going into this room, this ends up being the dining room. There is also a very iconic scene in here where Enid and Wednesday switch bodies. I hope this is not spoiling this show for you guys, but they switch bodies, and so they end up having dinner here together, I believe, something like that. I saved the life and death fireplace for this room because I just think it's so pretty, and I didn't want to use it twice in the living room and then again here, and so I decided to save it for the dining room. I'm going in with just a regular dining table situation. I do end up removing this little mirror cabinet because I decided to put a restroom there, so you'll see that coming up as well. They do have a globe, and then I found this globe drink thingy, so I decided to put it in here with this sofa and the lamp. I think it looks very similar to this in the actual show. In here, I decided to put a mirror that's from the Cozy Bistro kit, and this cabinet that is from Realm of Magic as well. Once I found these lamps from Base Game, I just put them throughout the entire house because I just think they fit the vibe the most. So now we're stepping into the kitchen. When I watched the show, I was obsessed with this kitchen. It just looks so cozy, and I don't know, it just looks so warm in there and put together. They actually have 2 fridges, so I ended up giving them 2 different fridges. I used one from Base Game and the other one is from Realm of Magic. I decided to use the Life and Death, I believe I used the Life and Death cabinets. I just think they look so pretty and they add more like detail to the space. The kitchen, I would say, is probably the most different than what it looks like on the show. I tried my best to match it, but obviously there's so many quirks that are actually in the kitchen itself on the show that are hard to match. They do have an island as well, so I did put that here with those 2 stools. I did end up switching the wallpaper, which I think does help match the vibe a little bit more. I decided to use these like bookshelves from the Book Nook kit. Yeah, I think they look good in here, like some cookbooks here and there, and then I decided to put some clutter in there as well. I'm using a Base Game stove, and the hood range is, I think, from Life and Death as well. This kitchen is very, very cluttered, so you'll see me cluttering up the space throughout the kitchen, you know, so with a lot of things from everywhere, all sorts of stuff. I really recommend you guys watch this show. First season was really intriguing. I don't think I was so captivated by a show in a long time, and then this next season is also really good. Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. I found these like locked books, which I think are from Base Game, and I just thought they would be perfect in here because, I don't know, it just fits the vibe of Wednesday and the Addams Family. I grew up watching the Addams Family when I was young, and so it was nice to see it like brought back and for it to be so good. Now we're going upstairs, and that's when I realized that I didn't have a restroom downstairs, because I was like, where are the guests supposed to go to the restroom? And so I go back in here and I put a door here. In the show, I actually think there are 2 doors leading back out on both sides of the fireplace, but I decided to just put the 1 door to the restroom. I didn't really have a purpose for the other door. This is one of my favorite restrooms that I've ever created. I really like the way these windows look with the stained glass, and then the lighting that comes in this like gray moody from this world. It's just amazing. I decided to use this Base Game wallpaper and Base Game flooring. I think it looks really nice. This is not on the show. This was just something that I came up with myself because there was no reference of a restroom on the show. Obviously they're not going to show that. I think the only restroom they show is when she's in school and she's just looking at herself in the mirror. And so I just came up with this real quick because I wanted them to have an option to have a restroom downstairs. And again, I created this little separation of like bathtub, shower. I always like to do that in my builds, if I have enough space, of course. I just feel like showers, obviously in The Sims, are just so quick, and the bathtub takes time to do. So that was the downstairs restroom. Now we're going upstairs to Morticia's bathroom, like an ensuite. So this is also just from my memory, not from my memory, sorry, just something that I created from scratch, because obviously there's no reference to what that looks like. And this is a little smaller than the other restroom, I believe. So I was just trying to make it a little nice little bathroom for an ensuite. The next room I decided to do was this kid's bedroom or guest bedroom. I imagine that Wednesday and Pugsley were visiting their parents often. And so I wanted a space for them to come in and spend the night if needed. So I gave Wednesday a typewriter because obviously she likes to write. And I put a couple of bookshelves next to it. I gave them 2 beds. I think these are from base game as well, because they don't look anything particular that I would have. So I put that here. I decided to try this wallpaper from Lovestruck, but I don't like it a lot, so I end up removing it. I'm using this dresser that's from Life and Death, and this chest that I think is also from Life and Death. This lamp is from base game, and then I'm just using a couple of more frames. I imagine they have frames from like their family, old relatives who have passed away, and I feel like they would like that because they like spooky stuff. So I even put this picture of this kid in their bedroom. Now we're going into the parents' bedroom. I would say this is another one of my favorites in this entire build. I realized I could change the doors to some nicer ones, so I changed them to these from Life and Death. In the show, there is a hidden room behind the bed, and so I put 3 doors that could lead into this secret room back there. I also wanted them to look like maybe the back frame of the bed, and so that's why I put 3 of them and not just 1. In the show itself, the bed has a really unique build, and when I saw the vampire's bed, I really wish I would have gotten the pack, because the bed in Vampires looks really similar to the bed that Morticia, and I keep forgetting her husband's name, that they had in their bedroom. And so I decided to do this like weird built-in stuff with like a half wall and like this curtain again from Life and Death. And here I'm just cluttering up their bedroom with a few more details. I do end up giving them this light, and then I'm using again that chair from base game that matches the chairs from downstairs. I decided to give them a fireplace in this nook. I really like this red bright fireplace. It goes really well with the colors that we have going on in here, and the gold outline and the black also work really well. In this room, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I just ended up putting like a table because that's all there is in there, and like a statue, and so I just put the knights, but then it was just missing stuff, so I just put lighting in here all around. And yeah, so that's the house, you guys. I'm doing a slower tour so you guys can see it. Here we have the main hallway as you enter, and then if we go to the other side, here we have the dining room with the fireplace, which is just so beautiful. Then we have the other area. We have this little restroom behind the dining room, which I think it's really cute with the green and the red. And then we have the kitchen with all the clutter, the kitchen clutter, and the unique fridges and stoves. And then if we go to the other side, this is where we have the living room with, again, a very unique fireplace. I did update the crystals so that you would see like this wood. I got that from Debug. And then, oh my god, look in here. Look how beautiful this room is with all the plants. This green room is just absolutely beautiful. I'm obsessed with it. And then the dome at the top is also really nice. And so if we go upstairs, again, we have the stained glass windows, and then you can see here the dome of the green room. It's just so pretty. And here we have the little hallway that leads into the bedrooms. And so we have the guest bedrooms for Pugsley and Wednesday with the typewriter, some books, and some beds. This is the parents' bedroom. Here's a little restroom, the ensuite that I created for them. And then this is their bedroom with those hidden doors and a dresser. I put their pictures as well, which they have on the show. And this hidden room over here with just a little table. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy spooky season. It's over now, but thank you so much for watching.